Hello everyone. Welcome. We have an amazing exclusive guest for you, Portia Booker on Open Minds to Open Hands. Well, hello. How are you feeling today, Portia?
Eve, first of all, I extend my gratitude to you for inviting me, and every day is great that ends in Y, every single day.
Thank you for being here. This is huge. This is amazing because we met, and a big shout out to Sanat and Susie. Susie is the one who introduced me to this amazing community, Diamond Beauties Forever. This is how we met. This is how we connected. And shout out to Jennifer Rogers. Shout out to Jennifer Rogers because this is how I connect to you in a professional way because you do amazing things. Oh my God. Are you ready for your introduction?
Ready like SpongeBob, bring it on like Donkey Kong.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So when you are connected with Portia or when you work with her, she's a producer, storyteller. Uh, so many ways to mold her if we can really need the title. But for you, you are a queen. You are a queen of producing videos, creating. So when you work with Portia, you enter in a realm of creativity, a passion. You are a beacon of inspiration, what the world needs and all the media production actually needs. You illuminating the industry with your presence. And, you've been doing this for, gosh, 10 remarkable years, Portia, and you specialize in commercials, you're doing podcasts, lives, you do so many things. But um, I'm honored to first of all know you as a friend and start working for you on a professional way. So the stage is yours. If you would like to add anything, that would be great.
Sure, Eve, again, thank you for having me. For those who don't know me, I'm Portia Booker, known on the internet as Portia the Producer. I am not only just a producer of many shows, I'm also a grief group facilitator, minister, a Jacqueline of all trades, is what I like to say, because everything is connected. Right, everything that we do, everything how we learn is through storytelling. When we think about how we overcome things, we remember that one story, that one character. I love thinking about Harry Potter, the Harry Potter series, right? And when I think about how J.K. Rowling was writing Harry Potter on napkins, right? When you read the history behind how she used her grief and channeled it into something creative, that's how we overcome. That's how we work through challenges. That's how we learn, essentially. So, storytelling is in everything. My storytelling journey started when I was younger. My mom bought me my first camera when I was 8 or 9. And it started with me going into the yard, just shooting pictures of the flowers or the trees or simple things. And then eventually it graduated to obviously video. But even before that, I would write little short stories about different things that I was inspired by. And then my great grandmother, I would sit next to her in the kitchen when I was about 4 or 5, maybe even 6, watching the soap operas. Who remembers like Sand Through the Hourglass or Days of Our Lives, All My Children? And I was fascinated by the interconnectedness of all of the character stories, similar to the horror movie series, not Jaws, but Saw.
So yes.
To think about it, all of the characters, one person was this person's boss, who's the person's boss was, having an affair with somebody's daughter, like the whole thing, right? That's how I became fascinated by the interconnectedness of storytelling. And here we are now.
Wow, you amaze me. You amaze me, Portia. You have such a way of illuminating the story, such a way of really telling as we are already there. I'm honest, I prepared some questions for you, but I must say we have three pillars which we operate here on Open Minds to Open Hands podcast. We are raw, authentic, and uncut. So if you see anything in the background, child screaming or phones ringing or whatever it is, that's because this is real, this is raw, and this is authentic. And you never know where the conversation would take you. I did prepare amazing questions for you. So when you're ready, I think we're going to start and spill the tea.
Hey, spill it all over. Look, somebody got to do it. Eve. I'm just saying, it's about.
I'm just saying. Oh, thank you. That slogan I'm just saying is reminding me. Um, I used to live in Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City, and I was very, very my dear friend, my dear pastor, Pastor Dan Willis, who said that, and the slogan is still here with me. I'm just saying, and when you want to get away or you make a hiccup, all you gotta do is just use the slogan. I'm just saying.
Just say, I mean, it is what it is, right? I used to hate that saying "it is what it is," but I find myself using it more and more often because it tells it all. No pun
Yes,
intended. Literally, it's
yes,
encompassed in the entire phrase. It is what it is, and you make the best of it. You take lemons and you make either lemonade. I mean, the saying goes, "I'd rather be peed off than peed on." So
yeah. Here we go. What it's another say when life gives you lemons, make lemonade out of it.
right, and don't let the lemons, get you in the eye. And even if it do,
Yeah,
clean yourself
yeah.
up.
Another good saying I must share. This is from my dear friend from the states, from state Michigan. You feel me, Monica Johnson is saying, "Don't let nobody steal your joy today."
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
And I know today we've been a little bit tight with the schedule, but we tried to fix some challenges which we overcome because we knew how to react. We know what kind of tools you need to implement when you find yourself in that uh, how would I put it? What kind of way should we say? Challenging a situation. But
Mhm.
when you set your mind and you put your focus on, you can make a mess to a success. So this is what we did today. So
Mhm.
my apologies because anyway, here we go. The questions. Blah blah blah. Portia, my dear friend, um, you have been a multi.
Commercial break. Here we go.
Ah, this is fun. So the question is, Porsche, you have been a multimedia production for over a decade, basically. The whole internet,
I
the
thought
whole.
it was going to be Comedy Central, Eve, or else I would have brought my comedic script today.
Raw, authentic, and uncut. This is for you. So Portia, you have been in multimedia productions over decades, basically an eternity in internet years. What is one trend that seems to come and go and come back again, like one of those stubborn exes who doesn't want to leave you alone?
The biggest trend is storytelling evolves. Now where there's more video content than ever, and everybody is an expert, right? And so it makes it challenging to really leave your mark in the world because everybody is a transformational life coach or a Reiki master or a show producer or a mental health advocate. Everybody has these titles, right? But what really makes you stand out in the world is people who can recommend you for that particular thing. Like I get recommended all the time for my media production. 90% of my business is word of mouth. I've yet to put out a single Facebook ad, Instagram, anything of that nature because my work speaks for itself. I'm even getting more referrals for people who want to work with me one on one with different grief related things. Now, I don't do counseling, I don't, but I work with people in a creative way to help them work through their grief and not get stuck in what I like to call the grief pit because it's so easy to do it.
Yes.
So back to your question about what continues to be a trend, storytelling still a thing. I think the biggest thing now is the focus on the personal brand. Because each of us has a personal brand, right? Like we all have our things that we do in our everyday. Like production is my thing, but most people connect with me through my grief work because I tell my story all the time. I tell different pieces of my grief journey. The other thing that I can say that is making a comeback that I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about is some of those old school ways of storytelling. Like you're seeing more interconnected things such as incorporating music, art, more people bringing back some of the things of their childhood to help, deliver a point of reference. So, as far as things that are making their exit or transition, if you want to call it, from that notion, I think long form storytelling is starting to slowly dwindle because our attention spans are shorter, right? People
Yeah.
go on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook and watch shorts to learn things in a quicker time frame instead of sitting down and reading an entire manual on how to learn how to smoke toothpicks per se. So if that if that
Raw. This is the raw coming out.
if that answers your question, Eve.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. I love it. Thank you. My next question to you, Portia. Well, you already know this, but your work is about making, ideas to bloom, like your clients' ideas bloom. Have you ever had that? What was I thinking moment? And when you seems to um, think about it and wake up at 2 a.m. and you turn into your creative ways and you like, oh, maybe it was a disaster, or maybe it's a masterpiece. Can you spill the tea on this note, please, for us?
Oh, I have many of those. I am somebody who wakes up. I literally have to keep a notebook next to my bed, similar to how old people have to wear a depend, because the ideas literally just drip out of my brain. I know in particular, right? See, you get the notion, Eve. I'd say one time in particular was about 2 years ago, where I had a big corporate client who wanted a podcast. And there was a lot of red flags in the beginning. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but I will say the red flags, number one, was the point of contact who I had was more of a third party instead of a direct person inside of the institution. So I'll just say the podcast itself was a great concept. However, it ended up dwindling because the institution and the third party person couldn't see eye to eye as far as the direction. The institution saw that the podcast was saying one message, even, or let me put it this way, the institution saw that the podcast was delivering a promise or a guarantee that was not true,
Mm,
and the individual from the third party was never their intent to say that. It was more so of another way to connect with their audience or clientele to bring in more leads. That was the purpose from the beginning. So the way I look at it was great from the begin. It was great during the time that I got to do this show. I was on location with them, and even the editing process was hiccups and roller coaster rides because there was some audio things that I had a hard time fixing, and some people's mics had greater capacity than other. It was a whole hodgepodge of things, but
yeah.
the thing I always go back to is the experience piece that I got out of that, because not everybody aspires to have big corporate clients or aspires to work with a certain demographic or can deliver a message in a certain way, right? And that's why it goes back to what I said earlier about
Yeah.
storytelling. Each of us, the worst part of you is the best part of you. I'm gonna say it again: the worst part of you is the best part of you. And a lot of people try to bury that, but the thing of it is, I'm seeing a lot of I'm bleeding on people to get more leads, and that's not the way to do it. Use the hardships in your life as a way to teach and give back and serve people, because it's going to give you a better ROI than just taking literally, you know, just bleeding on people with stuff. There's a way to do it. So I would say, Eve, to answer your question, that
I'm
was
taking notes. I'm taking notes.
the biggest lesson for me, was really learning to watch out for different third party things and go directly to the source. That's what I always tell everybody: go directly to the source, because sometimes the middleman makes it more complicated than what it needs to be, instead of when you go directly to the source and hear it from the horse's mouth yourself.
Come on now, sister.
And I learned a lot. I learned a lot in that
Yeah.
experience. I had fun. I still am connected to some of the people from that experience. So that shows you that it wasn't a truly a loss. It was, again, a lesson learned, and I still gained an ROI from it.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. My beautiful followers, my beautiful leaders, I hope you brought your notepad and your notebook and your pen so you can write it down, because we really spilling the tea over here on Open Minds to Open Hands. Portia, you you are magical. You I'm telling you, the way you share the stories and the way you connecting with people, um, is what everybody needs in their business. I'm telling you this, Portia, because I've been in business for 30 years now, and I did everything, you name it. I know the game, I know the gain, I know the pain. I was in America, in Chicago, working with big corporations, and I learned a lot, and that experience taught me to behave and to bring in informations, and have personal relationships with people in certain professional way. And yet, yes, qualification, titles, certifications, diplomas are out there backing me up. I'm clinical hypnotherapist registered here in the UK, and I have so many more certifications. But that's not it. Like you said, that's just a label. That's just a title. You have to be real, and you have to bring in your authentic personality, which I think we both agree on. That is what today's business needs. You have to be authentic, raw, and real.
And
You
I think,
cannot fake it. You cannot fake it. But they say you have to fake it till you make it.
mhm. And even you have to use that term lightly, because there's a lot of people who do, and then they get upset when the veil of illusion has been pulled down.
Yes.
The same person who you see right now is the same person you get all the time. And the thing of it is, too, to your point, Eve, about all the titles, all of the awards, accolades, degrees, all of that stuff, that's a percentage of you. That's a portion of who you are, right? But that doesn't make who you are 100%. There's still that side of you who's silly, who is serious, who likes to, go surfing or go on excursions. And you might be an introvert when you're not in the public's eye. So I think it's really about being yourself. And what does really being yourself look like? Being yourself encompasses you showing up, and you're in a room with people, even if it's a small room of 20 people, where your presence already speaks before you even say a word. And people are gravitating to you because of the magnetic frequency that you have for doing the deep work on yourself.
Wow.
Really asking yourself, who is it that I want to be in this moment? Who is it that I'm showing up as? Do I even love the person who I am? Like, full transparency, a few weeks ago, I found myself in a pit of not being happy. And I had to really get to the root. I mean, before we continue, shout out to my coach, Connie. You're the bomb.com. Shout out to Jennifer
Mom.com, shout out to the
for
coach.
introducing us. But like one of the things that I said to my coach was that I'm not happy and I'm really trying to figure that out. What direction do I want to go in with my life and how can I rekindle that curiosity and happiness like I had as a kid? And one of the things that I discovered, Eve, was that I was not incorporating enough play into my day. I was
Oh.
so much business work. Oh, I got to book this client. I need to write this person's show notes. I need to sit
Mm.
down on this show. I need to do the edit for this, make the guy.
Great job, sister. Yes.
And I recognize I wasn't incorporating again all of those things that my hobbies, the things that I've loved to do, connecting with people, traveling, that whole thing. And I said, this is what I need. And it took some self-discovery, and a lot of people know my story about the transition of both my parents. It'd be 3 years for my mom in July and 2 years for my dad. And the thing with grief that a lot of people don't understand is it puts you in a prison sometimes, but at the same time, it's necessary for you to go inward.
Mm.
I think society makes it appear as though you grieving is a death sentence, and it's not, because grief really gives you the opportunity to let go of the societal narrative that you have to be isolated, resentful, frustrated, feeling as though you can't connect to people, and grief is personal. I have to admit, grief is very personal. And the other thing I want to say on that note is the things that we say to people who are grieving, right? We need to normalize people who are grieving their feelings and validate who it is that they lost. Because just because I lost my mom doesn't necessarily mean you're going to grieve the same way, because maybe your mom was not your person. For me, my mom was my person. So my grief is going to be a little longer in comparison to somebody who maybe their spouse was their person or their best friend or their kid. So I think, again, like the biggest thing is giving yourself the permission to be authentically you. And also with grief, adopting your own narrative to what grief is for you. I remember when I picked up my mom's ashes from the funeral home and the epiphany that came in the window when I was sitting at the traffic light. Portia, what if your mom's transition is for your transformation? I didn't understand what that meant in the
Say
beginning.
that again. Say it again for our viewers. They need
Portia,
to catch it.
what if your mom's transition is for your transformation? I didn't
Mm.
understand that. How someone who just lost their mother 3 weeks before, how am I going to understand and comprehend what this phrase is saying to me? And Eve, I'm telling you, I've seen it in the last 3 years since my mom has transitioned, and even my dad. I'm seeing that full throttle, because 3 months after my mom transitioned, I wrote my first book, Finding Grace Within Grief, Her Transition, My Transformation, which is audio only. You can Google it. You can find me on social media. Just Google my name, Portia Booker, and you'll find it.
Don't take it away from me. I would like to ask that
Too
question.
slow. Too slow, Eve. But it's all good. But to
This is how we flow, you know. Yeah,
it is.
let it out, friend. Go give it
Yeah.
out. How we can connect with you, Portia Booker?
You can find me. You can literally do a Google search, Portia Booker. You can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn, Portia Booker. You can find me on Instagram at Portia the Grief Grand Tour. Same thing on YouTube at Portia the Grief Grand Tour. And yeah, I'm available anytime for, if you need me to help produce your show, you want to start your own show,
Highly recommended. Highly recommended.
if you want to, start getting your story out there, if you need guidance on sharing your story, right? Because I always say it, the worst part of you is the best part of you. And
Yeah,
somebody out there needs to hear your story in the way that you say it in order for them to start finding their footing and stop making the cemetery wealthier from all the goals and dreams and aspirations that never came to
yeah.
fruition.
Portia, you hit the nerve over there when you talked about your mom.
Hmm.
And I have so many questions for you, but you know what? We just turned an angle here, which is amazing. I love it because I helped my mom in transition. I helped my mom 2 years ago, and she's my bestie still. Ah, and to say that what you just said, it's really resonated me because although when you do a transition and you leave your physical body and you go to a different place called heaven, different dimension, you call it the way it's comfortable for everyone.
Hmm.
But uh, that transition where we're going through us, because we're still here on earth,
Hmm.
it is, yes, the grieving period, it's different. I was out of social media for a year. I was hibernating like a bear in the cave, and I was like, I don't want to do anything. And my mentor, my uh, friend, Dr. Malgill, always said, first of all, to be real and do not change. Stay
Hmm.
the way you are because that's your uniqueness, that's your power. And we talk on a daily basis. If I need to call him 3 a.m., he picks up the phone. So shout out to Malgill, Dr. Malgill. He taught me something like, okay, kiddo, he said, you can do two things. You can sit on your bum bum and cry and feel sorry for yourself. Oh, I lost my mom. Or you can create something out of it, something beautiful, which is I created the inner transformational courses. I have a journal, 21-day inner transformational journal. Um, we are holding the biggest summit in Europe ever in October. So I didn't want to, highlight anything about me. And I really wanted to put the spotlight on you, Portia. But I had to resonate with the message what you said about grieving and the periods of how people acting and reacting on that grieving cycle.
Hmm.
And they never left. They always here with us.
Hmm. They're
And
just
I can feel I can feel my mom right now here because she's so dear to me, and she's still supporting me from heaven, and she's my guardian angel now. I just gained an extra angel, so woohoo!
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it is, Eve, is whatever you believe when
Yeah,
it comes to your loved one's next destination. I said it in my mom's obituary that my mom, her mission here was finished. She helped me to get to where I am now, and it was her time to go to her next assignment, whatever that might be. And I still believe I get signs from her all the time, like the numbers, the butterflies during the summer, and the cardinals and different things. I still believe I get, and even people, sometimes I get
yeah,
signs through other people, all the different women I've met named Sharon, some of them who've had the same birthday as my mom, or just the craziest things that will occur, but you have to be open to it and be okay with your level of grieving. Nobody else can tell you how to grieve
mm,
unless they've experienced it. And if their mother or whoever it was, a transition was their person, they can't really speak to how you feel at all.
agree, agree. Wow. Well, you see, this is it. This is it. You never know what's going to happen at Coach Chief's Corner and Open Minds, the Open Hand podcast. I know we have a very limited time, but I would like to ask you two more questions before we end the show. Again, thank you. This is more than I expected, Portia. Again, you bring your magnificent into it. But if you would have a reality show, let's imagine you have a reality show, and feel that emotion, and grab that emotion, and say like, oh, I'm so grateful that now I have my reality show. How would that be called?
You know, when I have my reality show, I will not say the name yet. At the same time,
Ah,
the
bugger.
way that I will design it is similar to how Oprah had hers, and I want it to be in studio where people come in from all over the world,
Wow.
or even
We
taking.
are the oval of the world. We're
I
not
would
singing
love
the song, YouTube. We're not singing any song. You know what? Oprah, you mentioned Oprah. I was at her 50th birthday in Chicago, Illinois, in her studio when she had her 50th birthday.
wow.
Yeah, I
Now,
do have pictures. I can. I was like, wow. I said, synchronicity again. Hello, the signs. Yeah.
funny story about Chicago for me. I actually won tickets to be in the studio audience of Steve Harvey's show, which Steve
Oh,
Harvey. So it was the funniest thing to sit in the audience and watch the entire show. And of course, they record these things months in advance and that. But just being there with just so many people, you had to wear bright colors. It was fun. And the fact that I have that connection to Steve Harvey from him living here in Cleveland, Ohio,
I
and then
love
he
Steve
also
Harvey.
went
Yeah.
to my alma mater, Kent State University. So yeah, talk about celebrity connections. But yeah, when I have my big reality show, I plan on doing it in studio and even on the road, and also having a theme similar to the Magic School Bus. Those of you who remember that show from when we were kids, Miss Frizzle was definitely one of my inspirations because she was so free and held that curiosity like a kid. And I think that's the beauty of what keeps you going as an adult, excuse me, and what keeps you happy. And also in your business endeavors, like never stop learning. The minute that you admit you're old is when you stop learning, and
Yes.
that's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you active. So I'm excited. It's coming. It is coming.
Thank you. Well, you have to feel it. You first of all, you write it down as it happens already in a present. Uh, Bob Proctor has an amazing say, and now it doesn't come to me, but you wrote it down. If you can feel it, or you can,
And if you can think it, you can hold
if you can think it, you can hold it.
it. Mhm.
But before the closing statement, Portia, can you tell us what 2025 is looking for you? What are the projects you're working on? If you can share that to our followers and to your followers as well, that would be amazing.
Okay, I will share. There's several things I have in the works. Several. Portia's hands are always in many things, but I will
Million
share.
things.
Yes, a million things. I'm not like an octopus. I don't have enough hands, but I make the two hands that I have work for me. So the one thing that I will share is that my podcast, Grew with Portia, is back. I've been releasing solo episodes, so you can find it on Google Podcasts,
This is back.
Apple. You
Back
can
again. Portia is back.
The other thing that I will share publicly is that my TV show, The Grief Grand Tour, will be making its return soon as well. And yeah, the rest, I'm still doing my grief work at a local agency, which I'm super grateful for doing that. And yeah, just have to stay tuned for the rest of the stuff that Portia has cooking up. So
Wow, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Are you gonna able to come back because you're gonna be so busy? We want you back on our show. So please pencil us in. That would be amazing.
of course, yeah, I'll definitely come back
We're
anytime.
gonna spill some tea here.
Yeah,
Open minds to open hands.
spill
Well,
tea, spill tea, smoke toothpicks, whatever. It's
we're gonna have a horrific or a horror, or we're gonna have a wonderful time here. Raw, authentic, and uncut.
of
Well,
course.
we're coming to a close, my beautiful viewers. Thank you so much. Portia, again, thank you, my queen. And stay tuned because Coach Eve Corner is busy for 2025. I'm going to share a couple of live events in person. We're going to have May the 10th an amazing Time to Thrive 1 day event here in sunny Scotland. I'm going to share all the links below, so check out the comments. That's in person, like I said. And then we have our amazing one and only Inner Transformational Summit, October 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2025, in the heart of Romania, where we having global international speakers, teachers, mentors, coaches coming together to work on you to transform your life. It is a unique one time opportunity. It's going to be held at a four-star resort in a beautiful town called Nagyvárad, Oradea. This is where I am from, in a beautiful forest at the resort called Hotel President. So shout out to Hotel President, because we're gonna have celebrities. We're gonna all over the globe. If I'm telling you, from Japan, Australia, America, Europe, Hungary, UK, Scotland, all over the world, we're going to come together and we're going to have 3 amazing days. How cool is that? So you can help, you cannot miss it. There are applications available to register, and also we have some special prizes for you, but we're going to say that in the comments. So check it out. Portia, anything to close before we go?
I'd say again, Eve, I extend my deepest gratitude to you for inviting me to be on your show. And, for anybody out there who's questioning whether their story has meaning, that they don't know if somebody's going to resonate, just remember, the worst part of you is the best part of you, and your story is not for you. Your story is to help somebody else to stop making the cemetery wealthier with all the goals, dreams, and aspirations that never came to fruition. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Check out the comments. We're gonna pop all the links. You're gonna able to connect with Portia. You're gonna able to connect with moi as well. But yeah, if you need a good producer, you have to connect with this queen over here.